want to show the world how you treated me, bitch.
Accuse me to immigration.
You are a fraud.
Can I just lay it on everybody here?
Okay, go ahead.
What it is? Gino knew 1 week after Jasmine came here that he didn't want to be with her.
What?
Sit the down and listen. She runs because she doesn't want to hear. You're a poor excuse of a woman.
He promised to destroy her. She swore she had nothing left to hide. And the cameras didn't blink for a second when Gino muttered, "I'll show the world how she treated me." That line changed everything. If you love watching love turn into war on reality TV, hit subscribe and drop a comment right now. Whose side were you on in this tell-all disaster? Gino and Jasmine once sold a fairy tale from 2 different countries. Now it's an open courtroom with no judge, just everyone watching. The tell-all house was supposed to be neutral ground, but you can feel the tension the moment Jasmine walks in wearing that too bright smile. She says she's different now, calmer, emotionally regulated. The crew nods. Nobody believes it. She pretends the past doesn't sting, but even her hand trembles when she sets her bags down. Across the room, cast members trade looks and half-whispers. Everyone remembers the last resort fight that ended with Jasmine crying and Gino swearing he'd never speak to her again. Now they're under the same roof, pretending to be civil while rehearsing old wounds. Gossip starts before she unpacks. Someone mentions the baby. Another mentions Matt. The tone drops to a whisper that cuts louder than any scream. They don't ask if she's okay. They ask when the affair started. Jasmine hears every word, smiles through it, and sips her water like she can wash away humiliation. It doesn't work. The narrator voice shifts slightly cynical. For all her talk of growth, Jasmine still fights with silence. She thinks if she acts unbothered, she wins. But the truth is, silence only makes people wonder what you're hiding. The quiet turns her into a target, and she knows it. Across town, Gino's car pulls up. He's carrying documents and anger in equal weight. He's told production he has proof, but proof of what? Cheating? Lying? Or proof that he's still hurt? He steps out of the car like a man heading to court instead of a reunion. Every movement screams mission. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't what someone says. It's how calm they are right before the explosion. Back inside, Jasmine tries to blend in with the others at the pool. She laughs too loud at a joke that isn't funny. Even her friends see through it. The conversation shifts to relationships, trust, and betrayal. The camera cuts to her face, and for a split second, she looks like someone about to confess or implode. That's when a producer whispers that Gino's on his way. The energy changes instantly. No music, no words, just the sound of Jasmine's breathing. Her eyes lock on the door. Everyone pretends to check their phones, but they don't look away. He walks in, stiff, polite, dangerously calm. She greets him with a small wave that feels more like a warning. For the first few seconds, it's awkward but civil. And then he asks the question that sets the whole room on fire. "Jasmine, are you still telling people you didn't cheat?" Everyone freezes. She tries to walk away. He follows. It's starting again. And if you think this argument will end in honesty, you haven't met 2 people more addicted to being right than being happy. By morning, the house feels less like a reunion and more like a courtroom with no rules. Everyone's smiling, but the smiles are tight. Every laugh hides a question, and every question leads back to Jasmine. The pregnancy, the timeline, the silence. Everything is now open for public trial. Jasmine walks into the kitchen where 3 cast members are already whispering. The second she enters, the volume drops. She can tell her name was the topic. She tries to act unbothered, but her face betrays her. The audience can see it. That mix of pride and panic. Gossip spreads faster than sympathy in this house. Lauren leans in and says she doesn't believe the open marriage story. Julia adds she's sure Jasmine and Matt were already together before Gino gave his half-hearted approval. Even Georgie joins in, saying he never saw real love between Jasmine and Gino, only dependency. Everyone agrees the pregnancy wasn't an accident, just a consequence. They don't care if it's true. They care that it's entertaining. That's the thing about group dynamics on shows like this. Once one person smells scandal, everyone wants a piece of the blame pie. Gino isn't even here yet, but somehow he's already the martyr of the house. The quiet sympathy forms around him like armor before he's even entered the scene. Meanwhile, Jasmine sits outside by the pool, pretending she can't hear them. The irony? Production makes sure she does. She's been painted into a corner before she's said a single word. The camera zooms on her reflection in the water. Calm on the surface, chaos underneath. The court of public opinion doesn't wait for evidence. It just waits for reactions. Matt's name keeps surfacing. Someone asks whether he's coming to the tell-all, too. Another laughs and says, he better. She'll need backup when Gino starts reading receipts. That's all it takes to trigger a subtle panic in Jasmine. She knows once Matt walks in, the conversation will stop being about love and start being about loyalty. By noon, the gossip isn't even private anymore. Jasmine confronts Julia directly, asking if she's been talking behind her back. Julia denies it, but with that fake innocence that convinces no one. The tension rises until someone jokes about shower protection. It's cruel humor, the kind that hides judgment behind laughter. Jasmine forces a smile, but her eyes harden. That's the moment she realizes she can't win this house socially. Across the driveway, Gino is being mic'd up. He's already been briefed about what the others are saying. His body language shifts. Chest out, jaw tight. The gossip has done exactly what he hoped, turned Jasmine into the villain before he even appears. Jasmine walks away from the group to cool down, but cameras follow. The more she tries to escape, the more her silence becomes ammunition. In confessionals, other cast members describe her as fake calm. One says, "You can see it in her eyes. She's ready to explode." They're right. She's holding herself together with pride and denial. Gino enters the house mid-afternoon. The temperature drops. Every head turns. He greets everyone politely, except her. He doesn't even make eye contact. The silent snub burns deeper than any insult. Jasmine keeps still, but the tension travels across her shoulders like a storm. Someone mutters under their breath, "Here we go." They all gather around, pretending to relax while waiting for the explosion. The house becomes an audience inside the show, each person choosing sides like it's a sport. Gino sets his bag down and takes a slow breath. He looks at Jasmine, then the others. He's soaking in the power of being the one everyone believes, at least for now. Jasmine senses it and breaks the silence. "You can stop performing, Gino. We both know how this ends." He smirks. Not yet. When love turns into a team sport, the only way to win is to make sure everyone else loses. The tension crackles. One side waiting for Jasmine to break, the other waiting for Gino to go too far. Neither disappoints for long. He leans back and tells the group, "I've got evidence. She cheated before the open marriage." "You'll see." Jasmine stands, shaking her head, half angry, half terrified. You can twist the story all you want, but truth doesn't need paperwork. And that's the moment production knows they have their episode. Because once people start fighting to protect their version of the truth itself doesn't matter anymore. The first confrontation doesn't explode. It simmers. And that's what makes it more dangerous. Gino sits across from Jasmine like he's waiting for a meeting that's about to ruin someone's job. He's calm, too calm. The cast members circle around them like spectators in a slow-motion car crash. Everyone pretends to mind their business, but not one person looks away. He clears his throat and says it softly, almost polite. "Did you tell everyone you didn't cheat?" No screaming yet, no anger, just that steady, surgical tone that makes silence louder. Jasmine blinks twice, trying to measure her reaction. She says nothing. That's all the permission he needs. He pulls out his phone, scrolling like a man revealing evidence in court. "You see this? Calls, messages, all before the so-called open marriage. You can lie to them, but you can't lie to data." The room freezes. Some faces look sympathetic, others hungry for more drama. Jasmine stands slow and deliberate. Her voice cracks, but she keeps it low. "You really want to do this here?" "Yes," he says. "You did it everywhere else." Sometimes revenge doesn't come with shouting. It comes with someone finally enjoying your pain in public. Jasmine's jaw tightens. "You're obsessed," she mutters. "You've turned into a detective because you can't handle losing control." He laughs under his breath. "You think I lost control? You're in this country because of me. You should be thanking me." That line hits the air like a slap. Immigration, power. The ugliest part of their love story returns in a single sentence. The cast members exchange looks, half pity, half disgust. Lauren whispers to Julia, "He didn't just bring her here, he owns her story." Jasmine walks toward the door, holding her tears like they're evidence too. He follows, still talking. "You embarrassed me, Jasmine. You made me a joke." She turns around suddenly. "You made me a prisoner." The room goes silent again. Even production pauses. She starts listing things that sound small but sting sharp. How he wouldn't let her visit friends, how he monitored her texts, how he talked about her like property. Each point digs deeper, not just into him, but into the image they built together. He fires back. You cheated. You humiliated me on national TV, and you're still lying. Because you pushed me there, she snaps. You broke me before anyone else did. The rhythm of their fight is almost theatrical. Accusation, denial, exposure, repeat. It's not about truth anymore. It's about control of the narrative. Julia tries to step in, saying, Gino, she's a new mom. This isn't the time, he glares. Motherhood doesn't erase fraud. The word fraud slices through the room like glass. Everyone freezes again. Jasmine's voice drops low, almost a whisper. You're not doing this for justice. You're doing it to destroy me. Maybe that's the same thing, he says. Every breakup has a moment where love turns into litigation. This was theirs. Jasmine's calm breaks. Her voice gets sharper, faster. You want to talk about lies? Tell them how you told your family you didn't even want me a week after I came to America. Gasps ripple around the room. That one sentence shifts the balance of power completely. Gino stumbles, caught off guard. Who told you that? Your cousin. The one you pretend doesn't exist. It's the first time in the whole confrontation that Gino doesn't have a comeback. The control he built, the narrative he shaped, starts to crack. He looks at the crew, at the others, and then back at her. The silence that follows is almost satisfying, like the air finally changed sides. But Jasmine doesn't win this round either. She storms off, shaking, muttering that she's done. She slams the door, and the scene cuts to her confessional. She says she's tired of being painted as the villain, tired of being trapped in a storyline she didn't write. But her voice trembles. She knows she's still playing the game. Meanwhile, Gino sits back, muttering that he'll show the world how she treated him. He repeats it like a mantra. The group disperses slowly, like witnesses leaving a crime scene. Nobody says a word, but everyone knows something bigger is coming. When both sides start keeping score, there's no love left, only the math of revenge. Later that night, Jasmine's room is quiet. She's packing a bag. The camera catches her folding her clothes with shaking hands. She whispers that she can't sleep under the same roof as him. As she leaves, she passes by Gino's luggage in the hallway. And suddenly, her calm fades. Her hand reaches for his suitcase zipper. The scene cuts, and the narrator says what everyone's thinking. This story stopped being about love a long time ago. Morning light hits the studio, but it doesn't bring peace. Everyone's pretending yesterday didn't happen, sipping coffee like they weren't tearing each other apart hours ago. The air feels heavy, like the argument is still replaying on loop in every corner. Gino walks in wearing the same blank expression he always uses when he's about to drop a bomb. He sits down first, arms crossed, waiting for production to call action. Jasmine arrives a few minutes later. She looks better, controlled, but her eyes tell a different story. They've both chosen masks over healing. The tell-all starts quietly. The host tries to keep things light, asking about the trip, the reunion, the new baby. For a moment, it almost feels normal. Then Gino's family walks on stage. Dana, Michelle, Anthony. The crowd goes silent. Jasmine shifts in her seat, the tension climbing again. She knows they're not here to reconcile. They're here to testify. Dana wastes no time. He looks at Gino and says, "You knew after a week she wasn't the one." The words land like a wrecking ball. Jasmine's face drops. Gino's smile disappears. Even the host doesn't speak for a few seconds. Dana keeps going, explaining that Gino called him days after Jasmine arrived in America, saying he'd made a mistake. Jasmine leans forward. "If that's true, why did you marry me?" He doesn't answer. He just stares at the floor. Every truth revealed too late stops being honesty. It becomes ammunition. The room starts buzzing. The other cast members whisper. Julia mouths, "Wow." The audience can see what Jasmine sees now. The marriage wasn't built on love. It was built on pride. Michelle steps in, accusing Gino of pushing everyone away who questions him. She says he doesn't like hearing the truth, even from family. Gino fires back that they've never supported him, that they sided with Jasmine when she cheated. The exchange turns sharp, voices overlapping. Dana raises his hand to calm things down. "I'm not defending her," he says. "I'm saying you lied to yourself. You wanted control more than companionship." Jasmine stays silent, watching him expose every illusion she once believed in. She isn't angry. She's stunned. For months, she thought Gino's obsession was proof of love. Now she sees it's proof of insecurity. Anthony tries to defend his uncle, saying Jasmine still cheated, that the phone records don't lie. He mentions the timeline, the calls, the messages. Jasmine shakes her head, saying those were innocent. But Gino seizes the moment and flashes his phone again, showing everyone what he claims is proof. The cast leans forward, hungry for the next twist. But Jasmine doesn't even look at the screen. She's already seen enough. "You knew you didn't love me," she says softly. "You just didn't want anyone else to have me." He hesitates, then shrugs. Maybe. That single word destroys any sympathy left in the room. The audience sees it. The host sees it. Even his family looks disappointed. Dana sighs and tells Gino he needs to stop trying to win a war that's already over. Sometimes closure doesn't come from forgiveness. It comes from realizing they were never fighting for you. Only against losing. Jasmine wipes her eyes but doesn't cry. "I'm done explaining myself," she says, standing up. "You built your story. Now live with it." She walks off stage as the host calls for a break. Gino stays seated, pretending he's fine, but his hands are shaking. His control, the one thing he valued most, is slipping in front of everyone. As the cameras fade to black for the segment break, the voiceover hits one final note. The family came to defend him. They ended up revealing him. The next segment begins with silence, the kind that hums louder than shouting. The host announces another surprise guest, and before anyone can process the name, Natalie walks out. The audience gasps. Jasmine freezes. Gino smiles for the first time in hours. Natalie doesn't sit down right away. She stands at the edge of the stage, arms crossed, eyes locked on Jasmine. "You put your hands on me," she says. Her voice doesn't shake. She's not here for peace. She's here for payback. Jasmine blinks, then looks away. "That was a long time ago," she whispers. "Then say sorry," Natalie replies. The room holds its breath. Gino leans back, watching like someone who just set the stage for an encore. The host tries to moderate, asking Jasmine if she wants to apologize. Jasmine takes a deep breath, straightens her back, and says, "No." It's the boldest, most self-destructive answer she could give. The tension snaps instantly. Natalie steps closer, voice rising. "You attack women instead of holding the man accountable." "You're a hypocrite," Jasmine fires back. "You were flirting with my husband while I was still in the picture." Gasps ripple through the audience. Both women are standing now, voices colliding. The other cast members look uncomfortable, but no one intervenes. Reality TV has rules, and the first one is simple. When two women fight, ratings rise. The argument spirals fast. Jasmine calls Natalie manipulative. Natalie calls Jasmine narcissistic. They're both right and both wrong at the same time. What they don't see is how easily the men in their lives have turned them into chess pieces in the same tired game. From the sidelines, Gino hides a smirk. He doesn't need to defend himself anymore. They're doing it for him. The host tries to cut in, reminding them that the topic is supposed to be moving forward, but it's too late. Jasmine's voice cracks as she says, "You don't know what it's like to be blamed for everything, even when you're the one who was hurt." Natalie doesn't soften. "You hurt yourself when you refuse to take responsibility." That line lands hard. For a split second, Jasmine looks like she might break down, but pride wins. She crosses her arms and stares straight ahead. "Then maybe I'm done being the villain in your story." The room quiets. It's not a victory. It's fatigue. Two women exhausted from proving who's more right, while the man who caused it all fades. Quietly into the background, sometimes the loudest wars aren't between lovers, they're between the people forced to clean up what love destroyed. The host finally steps in, declaring the segment over. Natalie walks off without another word. Jasmine stays seated, staring at the floor. The cameras linger on her face, searching for remorse, but what they capture instead is confusion. She doesn't know whether she's the hero, the victim, or both. In confessionals later, she says she reacted badly because Gino gave her hope, then betrayed her again. The audience can tell she believes it. Pain makes its own logic when you're cornered. The segment ends with Gino whispering to someone off camera, "See? She can't control herself." And Jasmine, still sitting under the bright lights, whispers, "At least I still feel something." The studio lights feel harsher now. Everyone's drained, but no one's done. The tell-all has turned into a therapy session nobody asked for, and the next topic is the one that could destroy what's left of Jasmine's reputation. Shaw leans forward, tone calm but surgical. "Let's talk about the baby." That single line makes the room go still. Gino folds his arms. Jasmine swallows hard. Even the other cast members shift uncomfortably, waiting to see how bad this will get. Shaw continues. "There's a question about who the father is. Gino, where do you stand on this? He exhales, slow and heavy. I want a DNA test. Until then, I can't say that baby is mine. Gasps ripple across the stage. Jasmine's head drops. She whispers something under her breath, something the mic doesn't catch, but her face says it all. Humiliation mixed with heartbreak. Nothing stings more than watching someone you once loved demand scientific proof that you ever meant anything to them. Gino adjusts his mic and keeps going. He says he deserves clarity, that it's not about revenge, it's about truth. But the way he says truth sounds less like honesty and more like punishment. The other couples glance at each other. Everyone knows that's not what this is. This is about control. Jasmine finally lifts her head. Her voice cracks as she says, I told you already. You know who the father is? Gino shakes his head. Then prove it. He's calm again, and that calm makes it worse. She's emotional, messy, defensive. He's cold, logical, detached. On television, logic always wins, even when it's cruelty dressed as composure. Shaw tries to soften it. Jasmine, do you understand where he's coming from? Jasmine nods slowly. I understand he wants to humiliate me. She looks straight into the camera. You can't DNA test respect. For a moment, even the host looks speechless. The audience at home can feel it, the collapse of a relationship in real time. After the break, things only get heavier. Shaw brings up the legal situation. Gino repeats the phrase that's become his weapon. Immigration fraud. He insists Jasmine lied about timelines, that she broke the trust of the K-1 process, that she used him for entry and left him for another man. His words sound rehearsed, like he's been saying them in his head for months. Jasmine shakes her head, furious but tearful. You think I came to America to cheat? You think my dream was humiliation? He doesn't answer. Instead, he smirks. That quiet smile breaks her. She says she's tired of being treated like a criminal, tired of people talking about her papers more than her pain. I didn't commit a crime. I fell in love with the wrong man. When you love someone who turns your heartache into evidence, you stop defending yourself. You start defending your humanity. Gino's family, still backstage, nods along. They think they're helping, but all they're doing is feeding his anger. Dana whispers to producers that Gino's just standing up for himself. Michelle adds that Jasmine needs to learn accountability. It's the same chorus they've been singing since the start. Justice without empathy. Punishment without context. On stage, Jasmine sits frozen. You can almost hear her thoughts. How did this become her life? How did love turn into paperwork? She whispers again, You keep saying I used you. But you used me too. You needed someone to control. The host leans in. Jasmine, are you afraid he'll take legal action? She nods. I'm afraid he'll make me disappear. The room goes cold. Nobody laughs. Even the people who doubted her look uncomfortable now. Gino denies it, says she's being dramatic, but the damage is done. The phrase, make me disappear, echoes like a prophecy. The conversation shifts to the baby again. Gino insists he's being fair, saying that if the DNA proves he's not the father, he'll walk away peacefully. The cast reacts. Lauren shakes her head, muttering, There's no peace in this. Shaw asks Jasmine how she feels hearing that. She takes a deep breath. I feel like an object being passed around between men who want to own me. The audience claps softly. It's the first time anyone acknowledges the emotional violence behind all the legal talk. Matt, who's been mostly silent, finally joins in via video. His tone is calm but defensive. He says he cares for Jasmine but doesn't want to be seen as the reason her life fell apart. He admits she turned down his proposal because she didn't want people to think she was chasing another visa. Shaw asks if he still loves her. He pauses, then says, Yes, but love's not enough when it comes with paperwork. It's the realest line of the night. When relationships start involving immigration offices instead of intimacy, love stops being a feeling. It becomes a filing system. Jasmine listens quietly. You can see her walls falling. She looks at Matt's face on the screen, then at Gino sitting across from her, arms crossed like a border guard. She realizes there's no safety on either side. She wipes her face and says, I didn't come to America for a man. I came to build a life. The mistake was thinking I needed someone else to build it with. Gino scoffs. Then why didn't you stay in Panama? The tone is ice. She looks him dead in the eye. Because you promised me a life worth leaving for. That line hits everyone. Even the host lowers her gaze. A short break cuts in. Behind the scenes, crew members whisper that production's considering ending the shoot early. The energy feels toxic. But before they can reset, Jasmine steps out of her dressing room, insisting she wants to finish. She doesn't want Gino to have the last word. Back on stage, she sits down again, calmer now. She asks to say something directly to the audience. Shaw gives her the mic. Jasmine says she knows people see her as dramatic, unstable, even manipulative. But she asks them to imagine what it's like to have every mistake replayed forever. "It's easy to hate me when you only see my bad days," she says. But love doesn't survive on reality TV. It gets eaten alive by it. The crowd applauds. It's not sympathy, it's exhaustion. Everyone feels like they've lived this relationship too. Gino doesn't clap. He's staring at her, that same mix of resentment and regret. You can tell he's wondering if he's the villain now. Maybe he is. Maybe they both are. Shaw moves the topic to closure. "Do either of you see a future where you can be civil?" Jasmine nods slowly. "I can forgive him, but not publicly. Some forgiveness doesn't belong on camera." Gino shrugs. "I don't need forgiveness. I need proof," she smiles sadly. "That's why you'll never be happy. There are two kinds of truth in every breakup, the one that clears your name and the one that costs your peace." Gino starts defending himself again, repeating the same lines. She lied, she cheated, she ruined his life. It's like watching a man stuck in emotional quicksand, sinking deeper every time he speaks. The more he tries to look strong, the smaller he becomes. Jasmine doesn't interrupt anymore. She's detached now. The storm is over, and all that's left is the quiet aftershock. Shaw wraps up the segment with a final question. "Jasmine, what happens next for you?" Jasmine looks down, then back up. Her eyes are steady. "If you don't see me again, maybe I got deported. Maybe I finally went home. Either way, I'll be free." The line lands like poetry and prophecy combined. Gino shakes his head, muttering, "She thinks this is a joke," but she's not joking. For the first time in the entire tell-all, Jasmine looks peaceful. Not happy, not vindicated, just done. When you stop needing to win, that's when the war actually ends. The cameras fade. The audience claps. The credits roll over Gino sitting alone, scrolling through his phone, still searching for something that'll prove he was right. Meanwhile, Jasmine walks out into the hallway, alone. No entourage, no producer escort. Just her and the sound of her heels echoing. Outside the studio, the night is cold. She looks up at the sky and whispers something to herself. Maybe a prayer, maybe relief. Then she smiles. Small but real, the kind that doesn't need anyone's permission. That's the final image production captures. The woman, everyone. Called unstable, walking away steadier than anyone expected, and the man who claimed to have all the proof left, holding nothing but receipts that can't buy peace. Because in the end, no DNA test can measure loyalty, and no deportation can erase emotional truth.